When my father died, I thought losing him would be the worst day of my life. I was wrong. 3 days later, I sat in a lawyer's office expecting to inherit the company my father had spent 40 years building. Instead, I watched my stepmother smile as the attorney announced that she had inherited everything. The mansion, the business, the investments. Over $10 million. And me? I received one old wristwatch. At first, I thought my father had abandoned me. Then I discovered the watch wasn't just a watch. It was a message that changed everything. Act 1, The Funeral 0:45 to 2:30. My name is Ethan. Growing up, my dad wasn't rich. He started his construction business with a pickup truck, 2 employees, and a dream. By the time he turned 68, his company was one of the most respected in Texas. People assumed I'd take over one day. I worked beside him every summer. I knew every employee by name. Then my mother passed away. 2 years later, Dad married Linda. She was charming, elegant, always smiling, but something about her felt rehearsed. Within months, she began making every decision in the house. Dad slowly became quieter. He stopped calling as often. Every time I visited, Linda answered questions for him before he even spoke. I ignored the warning signs. I wish I hadn't. After Dad's funeral, the family gathered inside a downtown law office. The attorney unfolded several papers. I'll now read the final will. Everyone looked at me. I expected responsibility. Instead, I heard words I'll never forget. I leave my entire estate to my loving wife, Linda. Silence. The attorney continued. The company, the lake house, the ranch, investment accounts, savings, everything, over $10 million. Linda slowly turned toward me. I'm sure your father knew what he was doing. She didn't even pretend to comfort me. When the meeting ended, she quietly added, I think it's time you move on with your life. I left with only one item. Dad's old watch. Nothing else. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the watch. It had scratches all over it. Dad never took it off. As I turned it over, I heard something tiny moving inside. Curious, I opened the back. A folded piece of paper slipped into my hand. My heart stopped. In Dad's handwriting were 7 words. Don't trust the will. Find the red toolbox. I drove 2 hours before sunrise. Dad's first workshop still stood behind an abandoned farmhouse. Dust covered everything. Spider webs hung from every shelf. Then I saw it. A faded red toolbox. Inside. No money, no jewelry. Just a flash drive. Back home, I plugged the flash drive into my laptop. One video file appeared. Dad looked tired, older, but determined. If you're seeing this, Ethan, something went wrong. He explained he'd become suspicious after discovering unusual bank transfers. Someone had pressured him into changing legal documents. He feared he was being manipulated while recovering from surgery. I couldn't risk telling anyone. If this reaches you, take everything on this drive to my attorney. The drive contained hundreds of files, security footage, emails, bank records, medical reports. The original signed will. Left the business to me. It also created a fund to reward every employee who had worked with him for more than 10 years. Dad hadn't forgotten me. Someone had stolen his wishes. The attorney immediately contacted investigators. Experts confirmed signatures had been forged. Financial records exposed millions transferred into shell companies controlled by Linda. Phone records revealed secret meetings with a corrupt financial advisor. Within weeks, criminal charges were filed. The fake will was thrown out. Linda was arrested before she could leave the country. The court restored my father's original estate plan. Not because I wanted revenge. Because my father deserved justice. Months later, I stood inside Dad's office for the first time as the company's new owner. His old employees gathered around me. Many had worked beside him for decades. The first checks I signed weren't for myself. They were bonuses for the workers my father promised he'd never forget. I still wear his watch every day. Not because it's expensive. Because it reminds me that real inheritance isn't measured in dollars. It's measured by truth, loyalty, and the legacy we leave behind. Sometimes the greatest fortune isn't the money someone leaves you. It's the courage they leave behind. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what would you do if you discovered your family's inheritance had been stolen?